Good morning. Good morning, guys. Y'all come on and log on. Wow. It is a beautiful day. I was just going to show you. Yesterday was very foggy for some reason. But look, it is a beautiful day. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. Hey, guys. I just wanted to show you the day. I mean, it's just really beautiful. I'm just scan again. It's a beautiful day. You can kind of hear the birds chirping. Well, listen, I just came on here. I was supposed to go live last night, but after the walk, taking a shower and getting in, I was exhausted. So here I am again, another day. And I wanted to share something with you while I'm on here. I want to share this with you. One thing for sure. And this was something very difficult for me to do the other day was to reach out to somebody that I felt like, that I actually felt like that affected my family as a whole. It was very difficult. It was very painful to do it. But guess what? One thing that I believe that love is the key. Forgiveness is the key. Truth is the key. When you are doing stuff, when you process some stuff as a whole, and you're not just looking at it from your own perspective, then you can see the other person's decision making, the other person's perspective, and why they did some things that they did, and why they could have been influenced by another person. And so, with that being said, I think we have to focus on forgiving people more than hating and staying angry for years. And this is the reason why I say that, because we don't know if that's going to show up in your own family or your own immediate family. This is what I mean. For instance, so some years ago, I had someone to, it's like it affected me. Like I was a kid, and it affected me, some of my decision making, somehow processing things. And they were very open, and has always been open for forgiveness, always been open for, to embrace, to try to rewrite wrongs, and sometimes it's very difficult. And this is what happened. So, growing up as a kid, your parents tend to do some things that they're not supposed to. They tend to say some things that they're not supposed to say. And then, they involve themselves with, other people like your cousins, your uncles, and sometimes your aunts can say some things that will be very hurtful. I've also seen my cousins go through where, my uncles was married to my aunt, and they did something with it as it relates to adultery or whatever it may be. But in the process of dealing with all of that, you see the children's pain, or you see your cousin's pain, or you see your own pain where people are saying some negative things to you, and you have to overcome those thoughts because it's embedded in you as kids, right? So with my cousins, going through adult, dad stepping out, dad having a different, another family besides their own personal family, didn't know about it. And you hear some things that come through the channel of the family, and it affects the kids. And it affects, the kids become adults. And when you get to adulthood, you don't realize that what your parents did, or what your parents did, or what your cousin did, and everybody that was around you has caused your environment, or cause your environment to become your whole makeup. So I'm getting to my point. Just trying to set the thing of what happened. So, when you reach out to the person that actually hurt you, and you're the one that's reaching, but you're the one that's been hurt, and you feel like, hey, let me extend love. Let me extend. Maybe this person is dealing with something that they have some regrets, and they've been like, I forgive myself for doing this, or I forgive myself. I wish I could reach out to them, but I don't know if I'm going to be rejected. I don't know if they're not going to receive the love that I want to give them because of my heart that is sorrowful, or my heart that is I have forgiven myself, and now I want the forgiveness from the people that I extended hurt to, if that makes sense. So I think a lot of times we don't realize that just because the person who was the abuser, or the person that was the one that did cause the pain or cause some of the pain, don't need forgiveness or don't need to be an extension of love need to be given to them. It's true, it is. They do need it. They need to know that what they caused and the decision or the road that they went down, caused you much pain, that you have forgiven them for, that you have showed love towards them. And so what I did the other day, I extended love, and I said, hey, listen, all is well. Everything has been forgiven. I know that you said some things, you did some things when we were kids. You did some things that affected my childhood, affected my decision making. It caused me much pain. I made some bad decisions growing up. I made some bad decisions based upon what happened, but I forgive you. I actually forgive you, and I want you to know that if you need me, I'm there. If I'm gonna do some things, and I know it's kind of hard for me to even speak about it, but one thing was, it was first steps. And people think you can get it overnight, but the first step was reaching out. The first step was saying, I forgive you. The first step was saying, hey, let me say this. I hate that the things happened the way it happened when we were kids. I hate some of the things that were said because they were mean. They crushed me. You shouldn't have said them. You shouldn't have done it. But what I'm doing right now is not for them. It's for me, but it's also for them, if that makes sense. Because what you're doing, when you tell that person that you forgive them for all that pain that they caused you in your childhood, then something happens in your life that is rejuvenated, that is renewed. Something happens in your life that you can experience a life with so much more gratitude. And so sometimes you don't know that you're carrying pain until somebody close to you as an adult does something to trigger something, and it makes you go back to childhood. And that's what happened. It makes me go back. And so yesterday, I think it was yesterday or this week, this week, I actually reached out and said, hey, I want you to know that some things happened. You said some crucial things. It wasn't good, and I forgive you. It shows a level that you can mature. It shows a level that you can be bigger than the person that was you can be bigger than the person that caused you more pain than they could ever even imagine. And I feel like this here, for you or whoever's listening, if God forgives, you can forgive too. And so this week was a moment of forgiveness. This week was a moment, that day was a moment of forgiveness. And I truly meant it. And the person was receptive. The person said, I would love to have a relationship with you now since you are older, and I apologize for some of the things that I've said to you. I apologize for some of the things that I caused the family. I apologize for what has even affected my own personal life. Because look, you don't even know that they're hurting and they're grieving and they're asking, hey, let me get that phone call. If I reach out to them, I don't know what to expect, but I want to reach out. And if you're the one that is carrying the hurt and you reach out, sometimes the experience is good. I'm not telling everybody to whether to reach out to that person who may have hurt them in any kind of way, because it may be the opposite and it may cause more hurt on top of hurt. But sometimes when you feel it in your heart to do it, or you feel led to do it because it's an open door for forgiveness. That's what I have for you today. Hopefully it help you. The birds are chirping. I'm getting ready to get out here and start my little daily run. And you guys enjoy your day. I will be back on live a little later because I want to share some other stuff with you and go into a little bit deeper. And just know that, hey, if there's someone that's in your past, someone that's in your... And this live probably was one of the most difficult lives for me to even do without going into so much details. So much details. You know, I don't care who it is. You know, it could be a movie star. It could be, you know, somebody famous on TV. It could be somebody that's all across the world traveling and everybody know their name. Somewhere along the line, somebody has dealt with pain. Somewhere along the line, somebody has dealt with hurt. And one thing that I know, that pain is pain regardless of where it came from. But one thing that you can do as a person, you can learn how to forgive. You can say, hey, I forgive. Dig into my heart so I don't carry it, so I don't be someone that affect other people. And that's something that I've always done in my own personal life, is say, I don't want to be somebody that cause somebody else some hurt or pain. I don't want to be that person that will disappoint someone or cause someone to look at me. Not that I'm a people's pleaser, but I don't want to be that person that will cuss somebody out just because I feel like it, just because it feels good, and then not knowing who's all around that's listening to it and it's affecting that person, affecting those other people. Because a lot of times you don't look at, you know, it feels good with what you're doing, you know, at the time, but there's casualties around you and it affects other people more than it affects the person that you're doing it to. Does that make sense? I hope that does. Because those casualties are real. And I didn't want to be one that caused casualties. I didn't want to be that person. Because I'm a casualty. You know, when people go to war and you see all these wars breaking out in these countries and these nations. And after this, I'm going to get off. And, you know, just like I hate the things that are going on with Israel and what they're doing. I understand that they were angry. I understand that they were upset. But at the same time, there's some casualties over there that people who didn't cause it, wasn't even involved with it, didn't agree with it, but it affected them, you know. And that's what I mean when you're making some decisions. And sometimes when women and men, we're making decisions, and you're married and you decide that, hey, I'm going to do what I want to do outside this marriage. It's going to affect somebody. It's going to have some casualties. You're going to have some kids, and it may not be affecting you personally. It may feel good to you personally, but it affects the children. If you talk to the kids crazy, or you talk not to build them up, not to see the purpose and the plans that are in their life, you know, to restore them, to constantly build them, to build their self-esteem up, to have them seeing themselves through a different lens, then it becomes a casualty. It affects people, you know. It affects people in so many ways that's unimaginable. And if you've never felt pain, then you may not understand what I'm saying this morning, but I will say this here. One thing is purposeful is that in life, we all going to experience something. So whatever it is, if you walking forgiveness and say, hey, I'm going to forgive these people no matter what they do. Yes, they hurt me. Yes, they disappointed me. Yes, I cried at night. Yes, I was disappointed. Yes, it affected me as a child, even an adult, even in some relationships. If that has happened to you, the thing is next to say, hey, I'm going to forgive them because I want better. And I believe from that, walking in there and saying, hey, I want better, it caused not only healing for you, but healing for the other person, to know that they're forgiven. True story, when my grandmother was living, my grandfather and my grandmother and my grandfather had a, I guess like a, I forget what it was called back then because it was, way before I was ever born. But I guess they're called clubs now. So it was something small, a juke joint or something like that, I guess. But my grandfather saw this lady, and he actually in the lady, he had an affair, right? So when he had this affair, my grandmother found out about it, and she was so hurt. She was so disappointed. But years later, the lady was my grandmother's friend. So you can imagine the disappointment, the anger, the fierce anger that she may have felt. But one thing that I learned years later, it had been so many years. I was an adult. My sister was grown. Well, and I think we were teenagers or something. Yeah, we were teenagers. So the lady came up, and she, the lady came up and she went to apologize to my grandmother, and my grandmother was like, no, no, she didn't want to hear that. My grandmother got so very angry that after 20-some years, I think after it had it was 20-some years, because me and my sister were kids, like little kids. She was so angry. She still wanted to do something to this lady. She was angry enough to wanted to fight the lady, right? And saying that, to say this here, the anger rose up like it happened yesterday. And the lady was like trying to tell my grandma, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. That's been so many years ago. I apologize. Well, she couldn't understand from her perspective the pain that you caused, the disruption that you caused. But then at the same time, she's like, hey, I am sorry. She's apologizing. But my grandmother couldn't hear her apology. Probably at the time was maybe very sincere, but she couldn't hear her apology because of the hurt, the pain, the anger that she was carrying at the moment. I say that to say this here, that when people come to you sincerely, sometimes they are very sincere. I'm not saying to open the door and bring them all the way in and let them come sit at the house, but hear them and say, wait a minute, they are actually trying to tell me they apologize. They're trying to rewrite their wrong. Though it affected me, I need to say, I need this anger to not exist in me, because you don't know that. Have you ever met somebody that tells you, man, why are you so angry? Why are you so, and you don't realize you're angry. You're like, I'm not being angry, I'm just talking. It's because there's some deep pain in there, and the vibration that's coming off of them is anger. The vibration that's coming off of them is resentment, and sometimes you don't want to be around those type of people. And so my grandmother never realized that she was still carrying it until something triggered it. And so one thing that she had to learn is to forgive that person, but at the time she couldn't. I wouldn't want to carry pain for 20 years. I wouldn't. And I learned from seeing that moment in life, I said, no, I'm not going to carry stuff for 20, 30 years, 40 years, and I'm much older and saying, hey, let me tell you something, I'm not going to do it. I don't want you to do it. I don't want you to have pain and resentment in your life, that you can't make positive decisions, that you can't forgive somebody for causing you some pain. I'm telling you, this has pain and anger. When people carry it, it could be deadly. It could be deadly. So forgive even when it's hard. And even if you have to say it every day, I forgive that person, I forgive that person, I forgive that person, until you actually mean it. And when you see that person, it's like it never happened. You know it happened, but the effects of it doesn't affect you. All right, guys, listen, this was one of my, this is actually a heartfelt live for me, so it's so heartfelt because, you know, I've experienced some things, and I just want you to know, hey, in life, as we walk, as we journey in this life, walk in forgiveness. Because if anything has affected you in life, you don't have to carry it. You can, you know, you can just give it away, so you can experience the abundance of life. You can experience life as you've never seen it before. Don't carry it. Don't carry anger. Don't carry resentment. But walk in forgiveness and love. All right, guys, I got to get off of here. I need to go and work out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this live. Please like and share it. Thank you all for joining me, Serenity's Peak. Thank you.